King Midas was a very rich man. He had a big palace full of gold. He loved gold more than anything. He had many gold items. He liked to look at gold. He liked to touch gold. King Midas wanted more gold. One day, a magical satyr named Silenus came to King Midas. Silenus was tired and hungry. King Midas was kind. He gave food and rest to Silenus. Silenus was happy. He wanted to thank King Midas. Silenus said, "King Midas, you helped me. I want to give you a special gift. You can wish for anything you want." King Midas was excited. He thought hard about his wish. He loved gold. He wanted everything to be gold. King Midas said, "I wish that everything I touch turns to gold." Silenus warned him, "Be careful. Gold can bring you trouble." But King Midas was very happy. He wanted gold more than anything. Silenus said, "Your wish is granted." With that, Silenus left. King Midas was thrilled. He touched a chair. The chair turned to gold. He touched the table. The table turned to gold. He touched a cup. The cup turned to gold. King Midas was very happy. His palace was full of gold. King Midas could not stop touching things. He touched everything. Each item turned to gold. King Midas felt like he was in a dream. Everything was shiny and beautiful. He was very pleased. The king danced with joy. He sang songs about gold. He showed off his golden palace to everyone. He thought, "This is the best wish ever." King Midas loved his golden world. But he did not know what would come next. As the day went on, King Midas continued to touch things. He touched his bed. It turned to gold. He touched his clothes. They turned to gold. King Midas was still happy. He thought, "This is wonderful." The king's joy was clear. He loved to see everything gold. He kept touching more things. Everything turned to gold. King Midas was proud of his golden touch. He felt very rich and very lucky. King Midas had everything he wanted. His wish was true. He had gold everywhere. He was a very happy king. He thought he would always be happy. He did not know that things were about to change. And so, King Midas enjoyed his new power. He was eager to see what else he could turn to gold. But soon, he would discover the true meaning of his wish. Part 2. The Joy of Gold. King Midas was thrilled with his new power. Every day, he touched more things, and each one turned to gold. His palace sparkled with golden light. The walls, floors, and ceiling shone brightly. The king was amazed. He had never seen anything so beautiful. He touched a vase. It turned to gold. He touched a picture frame. It turned to gold. He touched his favorite book. It turned to gold. King Midas was very excited. He was happy to see everything in gold. Every morning, King Midas would wake up and touch something new. His bed was made of gold. His pillow was gold. His clothes were gold. The king loved his golden world. Everything he touched turned to gold. He could not wait to see what else he could turn into gold. One day, King Midas decided to have a big feast. He wanted to see how his golden touch would work with food. He called his servants and asked them to prepare a grand meal. They cooked delicious dishes. There were fruits, vegetables, meats, and bread. King Midas touched a juicy apple. It turned to gold. He touched a piece of bread. It turned to gold. He touched a glass of wine. It turned to gold. King Midas was not worried. He thought it was funny. He imagined eating golden food. But soon, he realized something. He tried to take a bite of the golden apple. It was hard as a rock. He tried to drink the golden wine. It was too solid to drink. The food was not good. It was not tasty. King Midas was not happy. He touched a bowl of soup. It turned to gold, but he could not eat it. He touched a cake. It turned to gold, but he could not enjoy it. King Midas felt sad. He wanted to eat, but he could not. He looked at his golden palace. Everything was beautiful, but he was hungry. He could not eat. He wanted to enjoy his food, but he could not. The joy of gold was fading. King Midas began to understand that gold could not replace real things. The king decided to go outside. He wanted to walk in his golden garden. He had beautiful flowers and trees. He touched a rose. It turned to gold. He touched a tree. It turned to gold. King Midas was still amazed. But soon, he felt lonely. He missed the real world. He missed the colors of the flowers. He missed the taste of the food. He missed the feeling of his daughter's hug. King Midas began to think. He thought about his wish. He wished he could change things back, but he could not. King Midas's heart felt heavy. He had everything he wanted, but he was not happy. He realized that gold was not everything. He wanted to feel joy again. He wanted to eat real food. He wanted to hug his daughter. He wanted his life back. He tried to be happy with his golden palace. He tried to enjoy the gold. But the more he looked around, the more he felt sad. Gold could not replace the things he had lost. King Midas was not as happy as he used to be. The golden touch that had once made him so happy now made him sad. King Midas wanted to undo his wish, but he did not know how. He needed to find a way to change things back. He wished he could go back to how things were before. King Midas realized that gold could not bring true happiness. He wanted his life back. He wanted to enjoy simple things again. He wanted to be with his family. He wanted to eat real food. He wanted to feel joy. King Midas's golden world was beautiful, but it was not perfect. He began to understand that real happiness comes from the things you cannot touch. He wished he had listened to Silenus's warning. He hoped he could find a way to fix his mistake. King Midas's golden touch had changed his life, but not in the way he wanted. He was learning a hard lesson about the value of real things. He hoped for a chance to make things right. He wanted to find a way to be happy again. Part 3. The first problem. King Midas was not as happy as he used to be. His golden touch was causing problems. He had a big dilemma. Everything he touched turned to gold, but now he had more problems. One day, King Midas was very hungry. He wanted to eat a delicious meal. He went to the kitchen. He looked at the table full of food. There were fruits, vegetables, and bread. It all looked so good. But when King Midas touched the food, it turned to gold. He picked up an apple. It was now a golden apple. He tried to take a bite, but it was too hard. He tried to drink a glass of water. It turned to gold. He could not drink it. King Midas was frustrated. He wanted to eat and drink, but he could not. He went to the dining room. He tried to eat a golden cake. It was too hard to eat. He tried to eat golden bread. It was the same. He felt very hungry. The food he wanted was now gold and not useful. King Midas started to think. He remembered how happy he was before he got his golden touch. He remembered eating tasty food and drinking fresh water. Now, he had none of these things. He felt very sad. He had a lot of gold, but he had no real enjoyment. King Midas tried to find a solution. He remembered Silenus's warning. Silenus had said that gold could bring trouble. King Midas now understood what Silenus meant. Gold was not as great as he had thought. He decided to go to his garden. He wanted to see if he could find something good there. The garden was full of flowers and trees. He touched a rose. It turned to gold. He touched a tree. It also turned to gold. The garden looked beautiful, but was not useful. King Midas felt very lonely in his golden garden. He missed the real colors of the flowers. He missed the fresh smell of the garden. Everything was gold, but nothing was real. He felt very alone. He wanted his old life back. King Midas thought about his daughter. She was turned into gold when he hugged her. He missed her very much. He wanted to hold her again. He wanted to see her smile, but he could not change her back. He felt heartbroken. He knew he needed to find a way to fix things. He could not live like this forever. He wanted to undo his wish. He needed to find a way to make things right. He hoped he could find Silenus and ask for help. King Midas was determined to solve his problem. He wanted to feel happy again. He wanted to enjoy real food and drink. He wanted to be with his loved ones. King Midas hoped for a solution to his golden touch. He knew he had made a big mistake. The king was learning a hard lesson. He realized that gold could not replace the real joys of life. He wanted to fix his mistake and return to his old, happy life. He knew it would not be easy, but he was ready to try. Part 4. A family tragedy. King Midas was feeling very sad. He missed his old life. He missed his daughter, who had turned into a golden statue. He wished he could hug her again. One day, his daughter came running to him. She wanted a hug. King Midas reached out to her, but as soon as he touched her, she turned to gold. The king was devastated. His beloved daughter was now a lifeless golden statue. He cried and cried. His palace, full of gold, seemed empty without her. So, let's make vocabulary a part of your everyday language practice and watch your ability to express yourself grow. King Midas felt a deep sorrow. He realized that his wish had taken away the most important thing in his life. King Midas could not stop thinking about his daughter. He felt guilty and regretful. He had wanted everything to be gold, but now he saw that gold could not replace his loved ones. He sat next to the golden statue of his daughter. He touched her, but she remained gold. The king wanted to undo his wish more than ever. He wanted to change everything back. He felt a deep pain in his heart. King Midas was determined to find a solution. He knew he needed to fix his mistake. He needed to find Silenus and ask for help. He wanted to make things right. King Midas began his search for Silenus. He hoped the satyr could help him undo his wish. He felt desperate. He wanted to see his daughter smile again. He wanted to live a happy life. The king traveled far and wide. He asked everyone if they had seen Silenus, but no one could help him. King Midas felt hopeless. He did not know where to turn. Despite his sadness, King Midas continued his search. He knew it was his only chance to fix things. He could not give up. He needed to find Silenus and make his wish come true. Part 5. Seeking a solution. King Midas searched for Silenus everywhere. He asked many people and traveled to many places. He was tired, but he did not stop. He knew he had to find a way to change things back. One day, King Midas heard a story. It said that Silenus had gone to a special forest. The forest was known for its magic. King Midas hoped that Silenus might be there. He went to the forest and looked for Silenus. The forest was dark and mysterious. King Midas walked through the trees and called out for Silenus. After a long time, he found the satyr. Silenus was surprised to see King Midas. "What are you doing here?" he asked. King Midas explained his problem. He told Silenus about his golden touch and how it had caused him great trouble. Silenus listened carefully. He saw that King Midas was sincere. "I warned you about the golden touch," Silenus said, "but I will help you now." Silenus told King Midas to go to a special river. The river had magical water. King Midas needed to wash himself in the river. The magic water would help him undo his wish. King Midas was hopeful. He thanked Silenus and went to the river. The water was clear and shiny. King Midas stepped into the river and washed himself. He felt the magic water working. As he washed, he hoped everything would change. He wanted his daughter back. He wanted his life to return to normal. King Midas was nervous but also excited. He hoped this was the answer to his prayers. Part 6. The Return to Normal. King Midas finished washing in the river. He felt different. He hoped the magic water had worked. He went back to his palace to see if anything had changed. When he arrived, he saw that his palace was still full of gold. But he noticed something new. The food and drink were no longer gold. They looked real and fresh. King Midas was overjoyed. He went to his daughter's statue. He touched her gently. To his amazement, she began to change. She was no longer gold. She was alive again. King Midas hugged her tightly. He was so happy to see her smile. King Midas looked around his palace. It was still beautiful, but not everything was gold. He realized that he could be happy without everything being gold. The real joys of life were more important. He had learned a valuable lesson. Gold could not replace the love of his family or the simple pleasures of life. King Midas was grateful for his second chance. He promised to appreciate the things that really mattered. King Midas and his daughter celebrated. They enjoyed a delicious meal together. They laughed and talked. King Midas was thankful for his family and for the chance to live a happy life again. The golden touch was gone, but King Midas had gained something more valuable. He had learned the true meaning of happiness. He would never forget the lesson he had learned. King Midas's life was now filled with real joy. He was content with what he had. He was happy to have his family and his old life back. He knew that true happiness came from love and not from gold. Part 7. The True Treasure. King Midas lived happily with his daughter. He enjoyed simple things in life. He appreciated his family and friends more than ever. He knew that true wealth was not measured in gold. He shared his story with others. He wanted to teach them about the true value of life. He told them that love and happiness were the most important things. Gold was just an object, but love was priceless. People listened to King Midas. They learned from his story. They saw that the best things in life were not material. They were the moments we shared with loved ones and the joy we found in everyday life. King Midas was now a wise king. He ruled with kindness and understanding. He made sure that his people knew the importance of love and happiness. He lived a long and fulfilling life, surrounded by those he cared about. And so, King Midas's story became a lesson for everyone. He learned that true treasure was not gold, but the love and joy that came from a simple and meaningful life. He was finally content and at peace, knowing that he had found what really mattered. Thank you so much for watching. I hope you enjoyed the story for today. More importantly, learn some useful phrasal verbs and new words that you can use in your own conversations. Remember, stories like these not only entertain but also help reinforce your vocabulary in a fun and memorable way. If you found this video helpful, please don't forget to like the video. This lets me know you enjoyed it. And if you think your friends or classmates might benefit from this story, feel free to share it with them. Sharing what you learn is a great way to remember new words and help others learn too. Don't forget to subscribe to the channel for more educational content.